The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The Foundation with Howard Grant is brought to you by Alive Grill Foods, J.S. Johnson, Mobile Garage Technologies, and Popeyes.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant right here on 96.9 FM radio. It's a Wednesday hump day. And today was a day that we I didn't put it in the past tense for you, that we identify a significant panel to really have a discussion for. Some weeks back, I set aside a time for you. I've been getting some requests, some texts. Howard, you got to bring Dazzy back. Howard, you got to bring Dazzy back. Well, life, be it as it may, life has taken its course and some things popped up. First thing this morning, she calls me. She just, had an opportunity to be able to get here. She was excited about it, but she has a significant meeting where she is. So we're going to have to reschedule that and kind of dive into that conversation as time goes forward. I was so looking forward, weren't you? I was so looking forward to really sitting here with Dazzy today. And she just can't make it. She has a meeting that's actually being able to span beyond our time. It started before our time. It's going beyond the time that the show is. So it's unfortunate, but we're definitely going to be able to have Dazzy back again and identify that time, right? Guys, how you doing today? I mean, it's a beautiful day out here. Make sure you pick up your papers. The Guardian actually speaks to these particular things. I thought it was very strategic. I read both papers, right? I read two papers. Let's just be decent like that. I read The Guardian and I also read The Tribune, right? Just to be able to get a good contrast to these particular things. Some stories that The Guardian doesn't have. Guardian has some details that the Tribune doesn't have. So I pick up the paper, Guardian, this morning and I look at it, right? PM tells Kalani, Minnis is failing you. This is bananas. Right? The lines are going to be wide open today. If you want to be able to give me a call, 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Hit us up on the text, 422-4796. It's bananas. As I'm looking at the papers, I said, this is quite strategic. Now, I don't know how long they set up these constituency meetings, but this is rather strategic. Now, we know that the former Prime Minister Minnis had a desire to go and speak with Garden Hills. I think it was March 7th, right? And they send word ahead, the F&M administration, those internally leadership in the party send word ahead and say, hell no, that's not going to happen, right? So whilst they ensue in an argument about why can't I speak in Garden Hills, here comes the Prime Minister in his capacity sneaking right behind and going in Kalani and speaking to Kalani. I thought this was strategy galore. And I must and commend him for these particular things. Now, I don't know if those members in Kalani are kind of eager to that and listening to that. But I thought, this is peculiar. Let's read a little excerpt in the papers. It says, I am extremely proud of the fact that we remain the same inclusive, democratic, progressive Liberal Party that we were. This is the Prime Minister of the country, Philip Brave Davis, right? I am also extremely proud of the fact that we remain the same inclusive, democratic, progressive Liberal Party that we were since the founding, since we founded 70 years ago. He says that how very different from those other fellas who fought in their council meetings to stop each other speaking. And I understand that one of the members of their own executive is taking their organization to court. And why? Even though he was elected by the members, they want to stop him attending their council meetings. What kind of political organization is this? What kind of political organizations tell their own people that they can't attend meetings, right? Make sure you pick up this paper and read this paper because this is wild, right? This is wild. The Prime Minister has been busy over these past few days. He's been to Haiti, had meetings, came back, had more meetings. Prime Minister has been really busy. Let's see if we could be able to read the rest of this story because I thought this was extremely interesting. And I just want to talk about it today, right? And he goes on to talk about, he says, they turn around and tell the Bahamian people they're all about transparency and accountability. And when they do it to the persons in there that lead them for just over 17 months ago, it really makes me wonder. According to the party inside of the Free National Movement Council, meeting got heated on Thursday after ministers objected to being blocked from speaking at the upcoming Constituency Association meeting. Ministers was set to speak in Garden Hills. Let's go a little further down. And at the Progressive Liberal Party, Davis called on PLP members to step up. Your representative is failing you. This is what he said. He failed the Bahamas, and he's still failing you. Strong words. I must tell you the truth. These are strong words. He's failed the Bahamas, and he's still failing you. He failed the Bahamas. It says he's so busy fighting his own council meeting for the right to speak to Garden Hills, he's forgotten about you. And this is where I know that the PLP branch will step forward and step up. There are many in this constituency who will never vote for us, and that's their prerogative. But there are some who will, and they showed us in 2021. And friends, I believe that there are many, many more who are open to persuasion. I don't know whether or not persuasion was the word to put there. I'm not going to fight it, but okay, let's read. He says, they're watching what we're doing. They like what we're doing because everyone knows that in the long run, everyone benefits from the kind of competent, watch this word, compassionate leadership that we are providing. We need them to support us. I thought this was very strong. Let's read a little piece more. It says, PLPs, on our own, we won't win this seat. But if we can attract more of the undecideds and win over some from the other side, then the next time around, this prize is ours. This is heavy. This is heavy. Somebody texted already. Strong, dumb words coming from an MP that failed Cat Island. This is heavy. Let me tell you why it's heavy. It's strategy. There was you watch these memes and stuff like that on Facebook, right? Most of us. I don't. I guess I'm at the age where I'm only on Facebook. So you watch these memes that come from Facebook, and there was these two dogs fighting, right, over some food, right? One dog tried to kind of sneak into the plate. One dog was eating the food, sneak into the plate, and they just start squabbling, fighting, fighting, right? As the two are fighting, one sneaks up from behind and eats all the food at the plate. I feel like this is the strategy here. As there's infighting in the organization, there's not only fighting that's coming directly at Killarney, but there's fighting that's coming out of the Free National Movement. Bananas. Watch me. Let's read. This is the Tribune. It says, healthcare struggles after recent shooting. F&M chairman calls for joint focus. A new hospital announced. Former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands said at recent spark and joint focus on crime and healthcare is needed. There has been a series of shooting incidents in recent weeks, with many victims having to seek treatment at PMH. This is Dr. Sands' comments as the Prime Minister Brave Davis last night announced that the ground will be broken for a new hospital in New Providence in June and in Grand Bahama within the month. Mr. Davis was speaking at the PLP branch meeting. Dr. Sands, the Free National Movement chairman, told the Tribune, this is the Tribune I'm reading now, right? that the chairman told the Tribune that because of the limitations of staff, now I'm reading this for a reason. Y'all know, oh, how are you reading? Yes, I'm reading the Tribune. Right? It says, the operating rooms at the Princess Margaret. Now, I got to chop this down. Because this blew me away when I read this morning. It said he explained that although that there may be a certain number of operating rooms, now so he goes into the details, a certain number of operating rooms and qualified nurses are able. Watch this. This is the challenge is that the lack of qualified nurses that are able to facilitate care in those areas. Bananas. Isn't this the same organization that did not afford the nurses an opportunity to be in the midst of the pandemic when they were working tirelessly? Talk to me. When they were exhausted, when nurses were dropping down, dying as a result of, one, lack of sleep, with the contraction of COVID-19, with the proximity, with the lack of those things, cities within the hospital. This was the administration. The Free National Movement was the administration where we saw this disparity in the organization. Talk to me. Wasn't this the organization that rejected the idea of being able to get external assistance when Cuba kind of extended themselves and said we can be able to help at the forefront of the issues that we had with COVID-19? Talk to me. Wild. That now, all of a sudden, in retrospect, you can identify the issues that the entire country has been screaming about in the hospital for a long time. Let's read more of this story. I thought this blew my mind. I said, I can't believe this. The usage of the operating rooms to treat gunshot wounds or stabbing injuries does interfere with the ability to provide non-emergency care. Dr. Sands says that given limits in staff in areas, the operating rooms in both Rand Memorial Hospital and the Princess Margaret Hospital are not in full capacity. So, requiring the use of the operating rooms for the gunshot wounds and stabbing clearly interferes with the ability to provide non-emergency care. And this has been a perennial problem, a perpetual problem that gets worse, gets better, and gets worse, and gets better. I said, this is crazy that he had that succession laid out like that. Listen, y'all, listen to what I'm saying to you. Watch me. And this has been a perennial problem that gets worse, one, then gets better, and gets worse, then gets better. Is he talking about the rhythm of how governments come in, FNM, PLP, FNM, PLP? Is your concern really the healthcare struggles, or is this a ploy to identify yourself as supreme leader with the ability and foresight? Come on now, talk to me. What are we reading in this paper today? I'm looking at this and I say, this ain't really about what it appears to be. This is a ploy in the midst, watch me. In the midst of the tribulation that continues to bubble to the surface like froth in them Starbucks cup, in the midst of the issues that exist in the Free National Movement, as the two leadership, because he's a part of the trifecta of leadership in the organization, leader, deputy leader, and chairman. The leader and former leader of the organization is having an infight. The chairman, who is supposed to be one of the persons who can be able to sort of sit both parties down and present reason and present a concept and idea that says that we have a responsibility to be able to go to the public. We cannot allow this to happen. He said nothing. Talk to me. Did you hear him? I didn't hear him say anything. Did you hear him say anything? He said nothing. While this squabbling is going on in the organization, the leader and the former leader is in the papers. We're reading it. And we can't really see anything about the deputy leader until I think it was yesterday. Let me find my paper. The deputy leader had the chairman, the chairman had nothing to say for the entire time until I think it was about yesterday. I could be incorrect. Let me get my papers. Chairman said nothing. Then all of a sudden, the chairman wants to touch on everything. You know what? I wonder why. Somebody tell me why. So he can show himself level-headed in the approach and focus on national development and growth. This is a two-ply effect. He needs to show internal council members in preparation for the next convention that he's always been level-headed to talk about real issues for growth and development nationally and internally within the organization. And he needs to show the public that the support that he has been given from the former Prime Minister Ingram, who we view as one of the lead the organization to the true victory, that people still support, that people still lean on. That support that he gave him in the last go-round when he lost, this is why he supported me. Because I've always been level-headed in my approach to do these things. Someone talk to me. Whilst Minnis and Pintard continue to go at each other's proverbial political throats, there seems to be something else that is setting up and brewing within the organization. And externally, there seems to be a play for Kalani. What is happening politically? Someone call me. Let's have a conversation about it. I'm reading these things. I could be wrong. Don't fight me. I could be wrong. But this is what I'm seeing. Some other stuff popped up also. You know, the Prime Minister actually went to CARICOM yesterday. The CARICOM delegation went over to... And if you want to be able to find out about this, you have to read The Guardian. I read both, and I feel like you can get more information by being able to read The Guardian today, right? It says that following the visit to the country's officials have a very clear idea how to help Haiti. Regional leaders left Haiti on Monday with a very clear idea of how to assist the Haitian National Police in its effort to curb gang violence, and bring stability to the crisis to an island nation. Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe said yesterday. Monroe, along with Minister of Labor and Immigration Keith Bell, was part of the CARICOM delegation that led to Jamaica Prime Minister Andrew Holness and visited Haiti to search for a solution to the ongoing situation in Haiti. Everyone we spoke to intervention, right? This is what the paper actually says. So it goes from A1 to A7. Everyone who we spoke to wasn't interested in military intervention because that would be an assault to their sovereignty. This is heavy stuff. So I read this, and I also read, I think it's the Jamaican Observer. Let me see. Let me just make sure. I read it and I put it there, and I thought it was very important that we read these things because I need to get a well-rounded approach of what this is and what happened. This is from JIS, government.jm/PM-wholeness, right? So this is the information that actually comes from there. And I read this and I said, wow, I think I like this. Let me read this from this. So you can see exactly what's what, and so we can all have a very clear understanding of where we are and what's happening here. So this is Jamaican Information Services. PM Wholeness provides interim update to Haiti mission, right? And this was just written yesterday. This is written by the Office of the Prime Minister, February 28th, 2003 in Jamaica. Foreign Affairs actually put it out. It says Prime Minister Holness, Andrew Holness, and CARICOM delegation of leaders are at this hour convening high-level talks with government officials and civil society in Haiti. This is the leaders are hearing from the relevant stakeholders and determining a path towards a consensus building for the restoration of political and security stability in Haiti. The Prime Minister and CARICOM leaders have so far had to convene meetings along with Canada on security. They have also met with high transition council and political accord groups At this hour, the CARICOM delegation, parties, and civil society groups, which will be followed by private sector and religious groups. Concerning the meetings, Prime Minister Holness said, and this is important, this is why I read that, while the meetings are ongoing, a common theme expressed by each group is the urgency of national security and the need to safeguard the Haitian population from gangs. Underpinning this is a call for organic democracy, institution building, structure, and organization. CARICOM is anxious to play a role in the restoration of stability in Haiti and will be a strong advocate for support to Haiti, as well as a facilitator for the process of consensus building. We express solidarity with our Haitian brothers and sisters, not only in words, but in deeds. We want to see Haiti fulfill its promise as a first free black nation and are committed to working with Haiti to find a path to resolution. This is great stuff. I thought that was good stuff. I wanted to actually talk about that and talk about some things that I'm seeing in here and really be able to do these things. I think I get a call on the line. Calling on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. You on the line with us live? No? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up, 422-4796. Forgive me if I sound like I have like a stuffy thing, right? I'm telling you, my kids, I don't know, I don't feel like it's only me. Everyone I'm talking to says that they're feeling a little sick, right? I pop so much Tylenol, it's crazy, right? Tylenol, cold and flu. So if you hear me a little stuffy, forgive me. But I'm getting over this stuff. I guess I got to drink some Cersei, I suppose. Crazy stuff, guys. Now, some internal stuff. I didn't believe that any of the stories, even if you read down in The Guardian, our Ministry of National Security actually sat on Auckland Bodie's show over on ZNS and started to talk about these things, but still didn't give me the depth of what this meeting meant. So I kept looking, trying to figure out, what does this meeting really mean? What did you go to Haiti for, right? Then I read the Tribune also. The Tribune said that it was a touch and go thing. One of the reporters asked him something. I thought it was a superficial answer. And then I realized this must be on his feet when he said this particular thing. Page 3, and when he starts to say, Monroe asks, they asked him, they did an overnight flight. They was asking him, what do you see on the ground? A journey towards creating a space for free and fair transparency. We heard that. It says he could not say how long it would take for an election to be held, because they were talking about when an election could be held and how these things could be done, right? It says, we don't think an overnight fix, but it says the group's travel to Haiti comes amidst a reported kidnappings and gang violence in the country's capital. When Monroe was asked about what they saw on the ground in Haiti, this is what he responded. He said, the Haitian National Police ensured that our travel from the airport to Hotel Montaigne where we met, was without incident. There was a show on the streets. We saw the environs of people, just a grouping of people, going about their business. This is what the minister says. He says, and I thought this was unnecessary. He says, I could say, and Minister Bell says, they're a lot more respectful of the police passing and pulling on the side. Okay. They're not more respectful than the police passing and pulling on the side than we are here in New Providence. And so we're conducted quiet, safely. And of course, everyone travel with their protection officers, right? We encourage no difficulties, right? So I thought it was peculiar. I didn't think that was necessary, right? But guys, this is something that's happening in the country. I feel like the infighting that's happening within the political organization, Free National Movement, is going to cause them to miss out on the possibilities government in waiting or the government of the Bahamas come next general election. I don't believe that the Free National Movement, whilst we continue to rant and rave about the idea of a rich democracy that lives within the walls of the organization, I don't believe that that's going to lead you down the path of the right choice for people. See, there's one thing when there is democracy at hand. There's one thing when you can identify that there's a clear choice to be made. But the organization has not provided us with that clear choice over the past, I don't want to tell you, 2 decades. The last time that we saw, in my personal view, a clear choice, I think our misogyny as a society got in the way. I think a clear choice for the country at the time, despite the infighting that existed, that we continue to be able to rebel rouse about the fact that this is why democracy lives in the Free National Movement, is when Loretta Turner Butler, with Butler Turner, vied for this position as leader. Social misogyny, the concept and idea that a woman can't be in this space, talk to me, you don't want to talk like this, superseded everything. And everything she said to us about Dr. Minnis was so said, so done. Talk to me. Am I telling you the truth, or am I just jiving with you? Loretta took a very strong position in identifying some of the flaws that cannot lead to the transparent, strong leadership that's focused on developing people. She took a very strong position in being able to do that. And as a result of that, we rejected her. And we got what many would identify as the worst prime minister in the country's history. Let me take the telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm good.
Hello?
I'm right here. Go ahead.
Yes, I am confused with the statement that you read concerning what the Prime Minister had to say about the FNM and Dr. Minnis and all the infighting, you know, and the statement that you made concerning the unclear view for leadership. However, this isn't this the same thing that the PLP went through when Mr. Davis and Glennis Hanna Martin and Alfred Sayers was vying for leadership? Didn't he who was leader hid the information from them that they need in order to avoid them from superseding him? Didn't the same thing happen?
Let me ask you this question.
Pardon me?
Let me ask you this question. I just want to be clear. Proximity to politics in this country, because of the size of our country and, you know, sort of per capita, we talk to each other. There was social speculation of what was happening in the PLP. Did any pronouncements come out in the official newspapers?
Pardon me?
Did any pronouncements of what was happening in the organization come out in the newspapers? Did we read about these things, or did we hear it from our people?
This was on TV. They spoke about it. Where Alpha Sayers was on, and he said that they hid the I forget what it's the people they call the list of persons from him, so he didn't get to dine and wine them. And the same thing Ms. Hanna said. I read this out of them out on TV. I didn't read that.
Alfred Sayers and his capacity to move towards leadership was one. We knew that there were several persons moving towards leadership. We also knew that Brave Davis was a candidate to move towards leadership for the organization. And
yes,
this
but
is
he was not the only one.
Well, he was not the only one. Glennis Hanna Martin
prevented the others from getting what they needed in order to keep them from outdoing him. That is fighting beyond, because then to me you're being unfair. You're allowing yourself to be the only one there for the people to see when others was there who could have done, I guess, whatever they could have done to get where you are today. But in your, for lack of a better word, greed for the position, I guess, you know.
No,
you did what you did, so now you're trying to call the can block because
the difference between
to get where they want to be, ain't that the same thing you did? They may be doing it differently, but it's the same thing you did.
Watch me. The difference that I see within the organization is not that there doesn't exist this thing, you know. I only hear a great deal of the issues that bubble to the surface within the organization from people in the organization.
The issue is every time the Free National Movement has a disturbance, an indifference in their organization, it pops up in the paper the next day. Every time they have an issue, it pops up in the paper the next day.
Exactly.
And I think that
difference I see there is persons are there who aren't afraid to put the news out or whatever they hear. But whatever goes on in the PLP, Progressive Liberal Party, party, you don't hear much about it. If you do, and to me, it leads me to wonder why.
But every rallying from the papers.
It's going on. However, why can't we hear about it the way we hear about it in the FNM party? To me, it seems like there's a lot of, I don't know, whatever it is to keep your mouth closed going on there, So it leads me to, one to wonder. I know I wonder about it because things like this ain't going on.
Every argument.
Why can't we hear about it the way we hear about it in the FNM? They're free to talk. They're free to open their mouth.
I accept
They're
that.
not afraid.
I accept what you're saying. I appreciate your telephone call. I got a couple more persons coming through. Every argument, in my view, and I accept what you're saying, every argument, in my view, is not for the newspapers, right? And I suppose that the PLP is selective in what they actually allow to be able to come out and trying to be able to kind of out fires in their organization before it bubbles to the surface. Because I can tell you, we've heard a great deal of issues. And I just got a call the other day that says, let me be decent. I'm not going to say it. Stop it. I'm not going to tell you. I can go to the edge of the water and then I can pull back. They got a call the other day that spoke to me why there are significant fractions in the organization, in the PLP, and why Clint would have taken on a position to say what he said, despite the Prime Minister not being able to really verify that and put it to the forefront. Listen, let me take it back now. I pull back. There are people who will always talk about what's happening in other organizations. There are insiders who want you to be abreast to the well-rounded approach to these particular stories, because sometimes we come on this platform and other spaces and we have a portion of the story, 78%. And so whilst we lead with the 78% of the story, there is a significant percentage, this 22%, that can really be able to change your view of that. And so when we, in this particular space and capacity, get information and we put it out there, it's met with these kind of, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. So there is infighting in the PLP. But there is a concerted effort to ensure that our fighting is not to be able to demolish what we've built over the past 70 years. Let's continue to be able to mush. This is a traditional organization. These are traditional people. Don't fight them for that. Let's see if we can take a next telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
We don't want to get into that because this whole thing is a Lucifer experiment, but then that's astrotheology, and I don't want to go down that road.
Whoa.
I can have callers calling in. Let's talk about Haiti. The CIA has identified exactly where every gang member sleeps. Their movement, they know. And are we going to go down there and arrest them and then put them in prison for a couple of years and let them back out? Or is the plan to eliminate them? First question.
You asking me if we, I suppose that you mean the CARICOM community and those that
right.
support
Have
this
they decided to go in there and eliminate them, or to just play games with them like cowboys and crooks?
Well, the CARICOM has been very strong. Our Prime Minister, who is also the chairman of the organization, says that this must be a Haitian-led solution, right? And I feel like it's redundant to say that this has to be a Haitian-led solution, whilst we feverishly have meeting after meeting to talk about how this Haitian-led solution would look. This is peculiar to me. Nonetheless, they're always remaining to this concept that this has to be a Haitian-led solution. So any solution can only be presented to them to say, this is an option, this is what we support, you all do this and we'll support you, which for me is not necessarily a Haitian-led solution. It's an outline.
One of the major problems with that, Howard, is some of the police officers are gang members. So
you're gonna cost me the choke. You're doing a lot today.
But, come on, man. Yeah, so they just and someone is going to set up a little organization to feed the poor and whatnot, and then siphon some off the way the Clintons allegedly has, and the cycle just continues, because if they're not going to eliminate them, I don't see a fresh start. And even if they eliminate them, it's going to be difficult to begin. But they got to get rid of them. And I know one in particular. And they know them all, because you see those mercenaries that they kidnap. Have you ever heard what happened? They paid the ransom, and that was it, right? Do you know why they're kidnapping them? Because they come in there and they take their children out, and they use their children. And the churches do that. And you've seen the articles, I'm sure. So the Haitians don't want no united this front come in and do that because they see what actually happens. They smuggle some of the kids at the same time.
This is crazy that you're saying that, and you went deep. You started to talk about the CIA. I've been doing some studies on some stuff. Listen.
They know where they are.
I believe you. I believe that there is this isn't just happening in the vacuum. This is happening, and everyone knows strategically who these players are, what their motivation is, so forth and so on. And so when CARICOM comes in this, I think that this is a lot of pandering to the populace to say that, okay, we're going to do our part also. But from they had the 44th meeting, I thought it was unnecessary. Why are we here having a conversation about Haiti? And then the first thing you could say is have to be a Haitian-led solution. Well, how to get to be the first thing on the agenda if it's supposed to be a Haitian-led solution?
Well, I hope they don't do too much of a military work and cause an exodus that really floods us.
I read an article. I appreciate your telephone call. I got a couple more coming through. Thanks so much. I read an article. Let me pull up the article right now. Y'all need to stop playing. I read an article. Here we go. Let me pull up the article. Civil society solution, non-governmental groups fix Haiti, right? With Haitian government, stuff like that, right? So, okay, so that's there. Contingent of Haitian soldiers to be trained, 30 soldiers to be trained. I'm reading these stuff now. Now, let's go to this. History, this is from the Office of the Historian in the United States of America. This got the seal on it, Department of State, everything, right? And it goes into following the assassination. This is how it starts. It says the U.S. invasion of occupation of Haiti from 1915 to 1934. It goes on, it says, following the assassination of the Haitian president in July 1915, President Woodrow Wilson sent the United States Marines into Haiti to restore order and maintain political and economic stability in the Caribbean. This occupation continued until 1934. This is not unfamiliar. Let's shoot straight. Are we going to hit the thing straight, or we can just go sideways? Let's shoot straight. This is not unfamiliar regionally, nationally, internationally. Haiti has been in perpetual turmoil from its inception, from independent leadership in the 1800s. Can we shoot straight? Can we talk like this? Or is it like, oh, I can't believe that he's saying that? The amount of assassinations from its presidents in Haiti says to you that there is an ongoing issue. And even if you come there with this concept on a platter, cut up in small morsels, bite size, for everyone to ingest, it still would not negate the fact that there is an underlying issue that exists in their community that no one has dealt with. Let's take a commercial break, guys. We're going to take this quick commercial break and be right back. 96.9 FM radio. The lines are wide open today. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up, 422-4796. Can we really fix Haiti? I don't think that should be our question. The question should be, can we stop Haiti's issues from affecting us? Quick commercial break. Be right back after this.
Foundation. The foundation. On your marks.
Carifta is almost here, and the Live has partnered with TCL for you to capture gold at the 2023 Carifta Games. Switch to Alive and get a free or TCL 30 SE on select Alive postpaid plans to share pictures and videos of our Bahamian athletes as they hit the tracks to win gold. Visit your nearest Alive store or mobile van location and come gold with us at the 2023 Carifta Games.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Wednesday, March 8th, 2023 is International Women's Day, a day celebrated globally as a focal point in the women's rights movement, bringing attention to issues such as gender equality, reproductive rights, and violence and abuse against women. Equity isn't just a nice to have, it's a must have. A focus on gender equity needs to be a part of every society's DNA, and it's critical to understand the difference between equity and equality. Guardian Media wants all Bahamians to truly embrace equity. It's not just something we should say, not something to just write about. It's something we need to think about, know, and embrace. It's what we should believe in, unconditionally. This International Women's Day, Guardian Media wants you and your company to embrace equity. Guardian Media wants you to celebrate the women in your organization this International Women's Day by placing them in an ad in our International Women's Day supplement. For more information, call 302-2300, 302-2300, or call your account executive. International Women's Day, Wednesday, March 8th, 2023. Embrace equity.
Foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, 96.9 FM radio. The lines are wide open today. Today was supposed to be a panel discussion, right? But, you know, you're going to be the panel today. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Or hit me up on the text, 422-4796. I'm going to read some of those texts. But before we do that, let's read a little taste of this thing right here. Although unhappy with Haitians' close connection to France, this is Haitian coat of arms. Right in the same article that I told you about, this here is... Howard, what's the website? history.state.gov. This is out of the United States of America. So let's read this. Although unhappy with the Haitians' close connections to France, the United States became increasingly concerned with heightened German activity and influence in Haiti. As the start of the 20th century, German presence increased with German merchants establishing trading branches in Haiti and dominated commercial businesses in the area. German men married Haitian women to get around laws denying foreigners land ownership and establish roots in the community. The United States considered Germany its chief rival in the Caribbean and feared German control of Haiti would give them a powerful advantage in the region. As a result of increased instability in Haiti in the years before 1915, the United States heightened its activity to deter foreign influence. Between 1911 and 15, seven presidents were assassinated or overthrown in Haiti, increasing U.S. policymakers' fear of foreign intervention. Listen, stop. This has been like a 100-year run, more than 100 years. This has been a significant run. And the question is that as we bleed into the next 100 years, can any intervention by any men who surround Hispaniola West come up with a concept that these people will ingest and apply in their communities? The answer, I believe, is no. I don't believe that you could meet this kind of a ferocious force that finds itself from one generation to a next only strengthening. I don't believe you could tamper that with this sort of a, well, you know, this is a civil approach and we want to be able to do the right thing. That ain't gonna work. You only can meet this force with real force. Let me take this telephone call before we get out of here. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hey, Howard.
Hey, all is well. What's up?
Is there a convention that is being called
for the Free National Movement?
Mm.
No, I haven't heard anything about a convention. I suppose that the Free National Movement have a convention in 2024, right?
So would that solve all of the problems? What they call election? True, so leader would that stop all of this and fighting?
But the Free National Movement has chosen a leader. And the former leader
some persons,
the former leader, though reluctant, let's just be very clear, though reluctant, showed his support for the leader that has been chosen by the organization. But we knew that wouldn't last long. We knew that. It is, this is my personal view. As long as the former prime minister has breath, health, and strength, he will relentlessly pursue the position of leadership in the organization. I believe that. I believe that.
Election, right? Choose the leader. Only could be one leader, right?
And he still can come back again.
That's what he want to do then. If I wouldn't if I was him. If the majority of persons say they don't want me.
Do you know what the council does? The council has the strength to shut this down. The council has the strength to shut him up and to sit him down. The reason
the council was cause all of this confusion. You don't know that?
Let me tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because leadership identifies the people who are committed to not just the constitution of the organization, but to them as leaders. And they strategically put them in position that when it comes time again, if anything was to ever happen, remember your allegiance to me and take care of me. And that's why you're seeing problems in the organization.
Anyhow, I just want to say this in the okay? Based on, people are saying, oh, this is the people calling the talk show, right? If you really listen to persons who called the talk show, based on the way the election was going, it seems like they have a face. So I wonder, do they listen to these talk shows?
Yeah, man.
They do?
They don't care, though. They got their own agenda. They got their own agenda. They're not concerned about what's happening externally.
Okay.
Thank you, my dear. I just appreciate your telephone call. These people don't care about what's happening externally. Nobody care what you say about what's going on in my house. They can hear you. The only thing they would say well, you all be quiet so nobody can hear outside. They can hear you. Huh? But they're not going to make a decision for the direction of their organization, you say, for your comforts or your desires or even this idea of democracy. These words that so many of our politicians use as it relates to growth, as it relates to development, as it relates to inclusion, as it relates to youth and creativity, all these are just words. They don't mean none of these things. We've seen that in your actions. All you do is jive us for as long as you possibly can. And if there's someone who can be able to agitate and speak out that this is mere jive, then you do your best to pull them into your fold. Talk to me. Let's shoot straight with the thing. Let's read one or two of these texts before we get out of here quickly. Oh my God, it's already 11:59. He says, Howard, I don't care what anyone says. Brute force is the strongest force in the entire world. The most powerful countries in the world are top dogs because of their army's power. Wow. Let's take a commercial break, guys. You know what we got to do. Pay some of these bills and listen to some news. And then after the news, we're going to be right back. The lines are still wide open. Send me your text, 422-4796. And we can chop it down after this.
The foundation. The foundation. 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 The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company with the foundation really chopping it down today. The lines are wide open if you want to be part of the conversation. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text 422-4796. At the forefront of the conversation, two things what we really touched on that sort of led the conversation was our Prime Minister
being able to speak to Kalani more specifically, going to CARICOM, and what we would have been able to see are healthcare struggles after the recent shooting with the Free National Movement's chairman, Dwayne Sands, being able. So all this is politics. I got a text that says that, Howard, all this is politics, is politics, is politics. And the truth is these are the men and women that we've identified to move towards leadership in our country. They're the helm of leadership in our country. They make the decisions for the sort of disgust that exists in our space. The decision as to the prices of these things, they wouldn't say they make the decisions. They blame it on world markets. They blame it on everything external, right? You ever been in one of those arguments, right? I've had some of those arguments with my wife. I'll be decent as possible. And every time I say, well, baby, well, you think I forget? In Jesus, where are we going with this conversation? Why deflect? We're talking about this particular thing here. Why? That's what we're seeing. This is relentless deflection. And no one is dealing with real issues. It's bananas. Let me read some of these texts that actually came through. He says, Howard, PM was busy, but not with the business of the Bahamian people. It's all politics. This is a text that came through. Not the froth with, what it says, not the froth in the Starbucks cup. Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of steam that exists within the organization. It always bubbles to the surface in the Free National Movement. This is, I want to know if the Bahamian PM been Haiti, because that was a secret trip, and he did alone on the public's dime. No, that is absolutely incorrect. If you were paying close attention, him in his capacity as chairman of the 44th CARICOM meeting that was held here in the country, it was very clear that this is a step that we're going to take. So both he, small contingent, Andrew Holdens, and a contingent out of Jamaica and other Caribbean countries showed up in Haiti. Our prime minister popped in and popped out quickly. They got in there to really have a conversation about the way forward and being able to introduce this idea of clear elections. Right? So that was one of the conversations. Haitian people want a prime minister, a president that they support. And it seems as though, for me, just reading, it seems as though there needs to be 100% support behind the man or woman put in the seat of leadership, or else there'll be a problem. 10% is going to give you a major problem. I didn't vote for this man, but that's not how we are. We understand numbers and democracy, not that they don't. We respect it. A significant percentage of the persons did not vote for the PLP government. They like to claim that they came in, with the populist vote. And a great deal of people did not even vote. It wasn't the popular vote. They won the majority of those persons who voted. And so even the PLP needs to be concerned. But that's not going to lead us into civil unrest. We're patient. We understand. Your 5 years coming, buddy. And whether we participate socially, politically, or otherwise, we know that if God save us and we live to see the next general election, we will make the decision to go contrary if that's what is kind of our belief. But we don't see this in Haiti. Yeah, they won't fight. They won't kill you. They won't kill you. Let's be able to read another one. This is Howard. The minister era is over. You spelled error wrong. You spelled E-R-A. We spoke about this. It's E-R-R-O-R. The minister era is over. He has been rejected in Kalani and given to Dr. Sands. Wait, hold on. What are you talking about? Is this a conspiracy theory that you wrapped in a text? What you doing? Dr. Sands doesn't have Kalani. Are you saying that this is what's set up? I see that Dr. Sands has taken a significant trip down to where? Drum roll, please. Long Island. Talk to me. Y'all don't want to talk like this. I see that Dr. Sands has taken a significant trip down to where? Long Island.
I see that Adrian Gibson, in his particular capacity, even shifted from the PAC committee to be able to bring in Iram Lewis. So the question I have is, are they kind of brushing this fellow off? Let's talk about these things. Let me read a couple more texts, and then we can be able to take this telephone call. This is Howard. Hubert Ingram still have 40% of the FNM voters. You have to go through Hubert, Pintard, and Minnis. The FNM is Hubert Party. I suppose this is Minnis. Just like the Republic in the U.S. is the Republic is Trump Party. A Republican is Trump Party. Hubert is the FNM Party. I disagree with you because they were Reaganites first. They were Reaganites first. And then there was Bush Party. Republicans ain't concerned about that. They just want someone who espouse their views wholeheartedly and commit themselves to the subcommittees that exist within the Republic and the GOP. And once you find yourself aligning with those things, you got a good Christian value, you know the shirt you got to wear, you got to be able to talk like this, they will support you wholeheartedly. Same thing for the Democrats. Once you align yourself with a liberal enough view and you can open up yourself to this concept and idea of inclusion and bring all these elements in, they will support you wholeheartedly. So I don't believe those organizations belong to any one man. Unlike here in the Bahamas, I think the PLP is still Lyndon Pinlin's. Talk to me. I think that set up, the foundation that was set for the organization still points north towards Lyndon Pinlin. And those who seek leadership always have to genuflect, and you have to do that, but they always genuflect and point back to Lyndon Pinlin. Let's see if we can read a few more of these texts. It says that I understand that all MPs get money allocated for their constituencies. Can the media follow up on this and see where the money goes? Look at the areas with shanty towns. Ask yourself if you see where that the MP is improving and the area themselves. Well, I know a little about this. My mother was a member of parliament, and there was an allotment of monies to be able to ensure that the constituency office is held open. You could pay a couple dollars to the person who works in the office, so forth and so on. And anytime you need, especially under Zhivago Lang, if you wanted to kind of do anything, you had to kind of give a detailed layout as to what you're going to do. All right? You have to kind of put it down. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is why I need the money. This is how much it's going to cost. These are the contracts. So he has always had this kind of a concept of transparency within the organization. I say that, I'm not the kind of, but this is what Zhivago Lang actually set up. I know, because I was responsible for kind of putting this together for my mother. So anyone who wanted to kind of build a small bus stop or paint the bus stop, we had to identify how much this is going to cost. And so he had this kind of a committee that was set up internally so he could identify that you're being responsible with the government's money. Right? So he was very good in those areas. So I don't know how it's done generally. I don't know how it's done now. But that was a great template that was set up by him in his particular capacity when he was the minister with responsibility for that. Right? It says the PLP has its issues, but unlike the FNM, they don't air their laundry. Sometimes it just get out now, but it don't always pop up in this paper. Really, we understand what's happening, but you can't point to that. The annals of time and history won't be able to look back on a specific date and say this is what has happened in the organization, because it's only social speculation for the most part. And you can always kind of, no, that's foolishness. That doesn't, because it's not written in these particular spaces. These stories end up in the mouths of people and certain quadrants of the community, but it's not etched. Unlike the Free National Movement, every time they row, Bangalang, in the paper. This is crazy to me. Every time we row, you think, listen, if every time I row with my wife, you hear it on BN, you hear it there, why Howard and this? Why this woman don't leave Howard? This don't make no sense. They can't have the proper kind of discourse within the walls of their own home, why the hell do we have to know about these things? And that's just what this is. This is how I view the Free National Movement. Why? Why are you still here? I ask myself that question about the former Prime Minister all the time. I why? Everywhere, every 4 steps that the former Prime Minister takes in this country, somebody's cuss him out. Tell me I lie. Every 4 steps that he takes in this country, with or without those persons around him that supports him, someone say, boy, Minister, you really... They take the liberty to say that to him when they see him. And I just keep asking myself, why would you remain in this kind of position? Is it that I'm going to show you one day? I'm going to prove you wrong? And so you stay steadfast in this? I don't know. I just a question that I have. So it says, great show as usual. This generator is past ridiculous. Why people and their dirty laundry in the public or on social media? So would the PLP take that stupid position on airing their filthy laundry in public? And the PLP is saying that no one can fix Haiti unless they fix the economic situation and the religious situation in Haiti. This is heavy stuff. Haiti, the place, in my opinion, may be cursed. He says, I'm going to say something that will rub people the wrong way. Just the way it is. Question, why the U.S. don't plant their own person they support to run as president of Haiti, their own political puppet. This is heavy stuff that you're putting on here and you texting today. Let's take a telephone call. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, man. What's happening?
Listen, a couple of things. One, I don't blame former Prime Minister Minnis. Let me give him some respect. I don't blame him. I blame the people who still scuttle around him and keep telling this emperor that he got on a really nice suit and he's running around butt naked. Okay? I blame them. And what we need to do is find them and drop a cut up on them so they can tell this man the truth. Okay?
But how they can tell him?
The most unpopular politician.
But they ain't gonna tell him that.
Ever.
Listen to me. They are not gonna tell him that. Let me tell you why.
Well, then y'all need to tell him.
I told you this before. I said this.
Listen to me. This man could literally, okay, walk in the room full of him and 99 other Klansmen. And if that room got Bahamian in it, the Klansmen will walk out alive. You understand?
That is crazy what you're saying.
I'm telling you the truth.
Whoa.
This man is the most unpopular. I mean, it's just, anyway, that's just, and so the FNM really just needs to say to him, go away, and then start ignoring him. Ignore him. If you want to say something, it's a free country, but ignore him. Don't get into nothing with him. Don't invite him to nothing. Do nothing. You don't come to the caucus anyway, so don't worry about it. Leave him alone. All right? You got bigger fish to fry than worrying about him. Because he couldn't get elected outside of Kalani nowhere else in the country.
This heavy
nowhere
what you're
else.
saying. This heavy what you're saying.
Now, as it relates to Haiti, okay, let's be clear about it. I listen to people talk stuff about Haiti and religion and all this other foolishness. We need to put some sense in our head. Okay? Haiti is a country that has multicultural things.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Some of those cultures involve religions that those of us who are Judeo-Christian might not see as viable. Okay, and that's fine. That's all right. But it is certainly not the only country in the world that espouses some religious beliefs outside of us. You got China that espouses no religious belief pretty much, and they on top of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it cannot be that having certain religious groups and spiritual groups in your country means that X, Y, and Z is going to absolutely happen and everything bad is tied to that. Because there are multiple countries all over the world that are anti-religion, they're atheistic, they're agnostic, and they do very well. The problem with Haiti is Haiti has been punched down repeatedly because Haiti is an example to black people all over the world that true freedom is never given, and has to be taken. And countries have colluded. Let's call it what it is. They've colluded, such an example that everybody else will cower and fail. That's what it's all about. All of this money they claim they raised for the Haiti and aid and everything, none of it has seen any sort of thing. But the U.S. in 1 year, in one calendar year, has spent over $50 billion to Ukraine. Okay? Ukraine, the home of neo-Nazis and people who don't like nobody, who don't look like them, and they basically just Russians' cousins. That's two cousins fighting. Okay? But they'll spend $50 billion there and put hard money there. But all these promises and this and that, but Haiti and everything else, and they destabilize Haiti. The guys who went in and shot up the president last time flew out of Miami with Venezuelans who flew out of Miami on U.S. visas. Guys with records. How do they get a record? How do they get a visa with crime records? Right? When our people, when we get arrested, we can't get a visa. How does somebody from Venezuela, a country that America is openly at almost war with, you might as well say, right?
Yes.
How could they get that? These are things that are planned and set up, and Haiti is a reminder to every other black country that if you don't want to suck from the teeth of white supremacy, that there's a price to pay.
You're making heavy sense
now,
today.
that doesn't mean that we should have them flood our borders and come here illegally or none of that other stuff. Let's be clear about that. We are a country of rules and laws. We must make sure they're governed. But the truth of the matter is, until we deal with the people who bring, which are the merchants, which are the employers, which are big business, you know, Haitians come and get a set up no mom and pop, I can get your grass business. That's what they come in here for. They come here for jobs. Who are offering the jobs? All right? Who are the people who own these big businesses? Is it a surprise to us that Abaco now sees influx when Baker's Bay is rebuilding at almost an astronomical rate?
Yes.
We got to be smart about this. So stop worrying about we got to take this one and take that one. The fact of the matter is, let's lock our borders down. They cannot get here without coming through Anagua because they will not go the other route. Okay? So every time a boat reaches from Nassau, from Haiti, we should tell the commandant of the defense force, you need to send your resignation in because you don't know what you're doing.
Wow.
Because there's only one way for them to reach. All right? And anytime we meet them up there, people who they're working with, the property they're working on, the businesses they're working with, should immediately now become property of the state. End story. And you'll see how quick you don't have no illegal immigration no more from Haiti. All right, my brother?
Thank you, my brother. I do appreciate your telephone call. Yeah. Guys, the lines are wide open. I want to be able to add to that and sort of fan the ember, the flames that exist thereof. Was that conversation, was that contribution a very clear indication of the responsibility of those heads of government regionally that sat in the 44th meeting for CARICOM? Was there an agenda set to ensure that we focus on Haiti as a reminder? Man, talk to me. Let's be very clear. Is this a regional reminder, Haiti? If there is no compliance, be perpetual complaints. That's the question that I have. Is Haiti in this position as a reminder to the region that if you don't comply with an overarching agenda that was set far before your established leadership, then you will complain like you see Haiti, who has suffered years, generations of tribulation because of their ability to stand up for what they believe in, for their position, in their strength. My God. It's heavy stuff what you're saying. Let's see if we can be able to read another text and then take this telephone call. It says, Howard, do you really think that a little blip on the map called the Bahamas and a non-visionary Bahamian government can help Haiti? All caps. Watch this, all caps. We can't even fix the Bahamas. No president has survived, but watch this, They can do the same thing to our government. We back down to the regular caps once they take over. This is a lot of stuff. Let's take a next telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, Howard.
Good afternoon, my brother. What's happening?
All is well. Hey, Howard, I want to just say amen to that gentleman, and I hope people was listening to what he was saying, because, hey, everything what he said is exactly factual, right? And to go a little further to prove it, right, you could point out a black nation, right, that is then still under the suppression of white supremacy, NATO, America, Britain, right? There's no black nation with still today, because of that fact, ganged up on Haiti to do, after Haiti was able to defeat one of the greatest army at that time, being what they call a black nation. But the reality is, we in the Bahamas, we don't have to face those things, because we are some of the black people who is compliant to the white man. And
they call us good slaves. We good slaves.
We good slaves.
Yeah.
Right, and then we go and we puff up ourselves, believing that we are close to God, and God is this and God. But all it is that America don't feel threatened in no form or way about the Bahamas, and that's why we have a pre-clearance, right, like nobody else, because they feel no threat when it comes to what they stand for. Because everything they stand for, we conform to as it it was sent from God. So anytime any nation up to the day, right, if you don't conform with the ideologies of America and the white supremacy, and there's no way you could really survive if. As a black nation. I mean, I'm glad to see Africa is pushing through. That's a different topic, but we there's no way our CARICOM, that's only pandering for political brownie points. Hopefully, if people follow them to that extreme, but there's nothing no CARICOM nation could do to stabilize Haiti, or even cause most of the people in Haiti to take 1 minute to listen to what they have to say, right? It only can be for the camera and the papers. That's all it's going to be all about.
It ain't no real effect on the ground.
It can't reach no real effect on the ground, because the real effect on the ground, it ain't going to come just by some unarmyless nations coming with what a bag of air, or what they call air bagging. That ain't gonna work.
Thank you, my brother. I do appreciate your telephone call. Thanks for your contribution. This is wild, and if we have this very clear understanding, we as a collective body, as a nation, we who have never had turmoil since we have kind of yielded our strength and say, for our strength, we will continue to be able to comply with your position. But we need this perception of independence. Talk to me. We're celebrating that now. 50 years. For 50 years, we didn't have to fight for anything. We didn't have to fight for our independence. We didn't have to fight for anything. There was a conversation. A collective body actually went up to Britain, had this conversation, and now we celebrate the independence that we have. It never happened with Haiti. The question I have is whether or not, as you approach these things, those towering first world countries just point back to Haiti. Hey, watch yourself. You see Haiti? Well, hey, watch yourself. You see Haiti? Is that what happens here? Let's take a next telephone call. Calling you on the line with us live. Go ahead. I ain't listening to you.
Hello.
Hey, go ahead. Turn your radio down. Let's talk. Go ahead. You gone? All right. Let me take the next caller. Calling on the line. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
Howard Grant.
Yes, sir.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm well.
What do you fight for independence? What are you talking about?
We didn't have to fight.
Yes, we did.
If you contrast the fight for liberation, access, independence to Haiti.
You sound a little farther away. Could you turn up your volume?
I'm right here to the mic.
Oh,
right?
Okay, good. All right.
Listen.
You sound a little better now.
If you contrast the fight for liberation, access, and independence that we saw in Haiti to the fight for independence that was actually given to us by this signature, we did not fight. Talk to me.
Mr. Grant, that's not true.
Let me hear you.
Because you didn't shed blood, you saying now that we didn't fight for independence? That's what you're telling the people?
There wasn't a fight. I don't see that there was a fight. The negotiation, what was clear, okay, let's do this. Because this generation has access and information that we ingest daily by watching what has happened with Queen Elizabeth all over Netflix and contrasting that with what we read on our telephones. There was never a fight. The monarch was losing its position in the region and understood the importance of identifying certain regions, positions in the region, and giving them the opportunity to be able to move towards leadership, towards independence. That's what they've done. We've read all this information and ingested all of this. And as we look back in retrospect, we realize this wasn't really a fight. This was the monarch trying to give the impression that you have independence. But truly, there is relentless allegiance to the monarch.
So you're trying to tell me that Article 1, which says the Bahamas shall be a sovereign, independent, democratic state. That's not true then.
How can the Bahamas be a sovereign, independent, democratic state with the allegiance to its people when our current prime minister comes in the paper and talks about a humane, compassionate way to identify persons that come from the South and accommodating them in our land whilst they continue to squat and we have nothing? The next generation of Bahamians have nothing to look forward to in their own space.
Mr. Grant, let me just say this to you.
Go ahead.
Do not use the weaknesses of a particular personality, because that's what you have there right now. What you just said, the weakness of a particular personality to supersede the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That has been our problem from even before then, before 1967. We have to understand that we have been sending the wrong set of people to do our national affairs. This current administration is not operating by the Constitution.
Okay.
That is clear evidence of that. The Bahamian people have to deal with that instead of arguing and bickering among themselves about what this particular personality ain't doing. What are we going to do about it? Mm-hmm. That is the question we need to ask ourselves, because you're not without a cause, you're not without a remedy, but we allow all this crap to come from a particular individual, and then we sit back and we sulk as if we cannot do anything. Mr. John Grant, that is not right. Mm-hmm. But to give that kind of misinformation to the Bahamian public, that we didn't fight for independence. What did my mom and pa did, man? My grandparents before them. The struggles that they went through. You're going to tell the people in this country that they didn't fight for what we now enjoy today? Come on, Mr. Grant.
I don't think I still remain committed. I think you want me to change my position. I believe my grandparents.
I'm not saying you're entitled to your view. I'm not even getting into that. But let's look at what our mothers and fathers did. Do you know from 1729 to right up to this day as I speak to you, we have had change of administrations in this country. And see, this was not even brought out in Caracal, where the Bahamian people transit from one administration to the other without firing one shot in almost 300 years.
You like to believe that to be
Does that mean anything? What do you mean I like to believe that? That's a fact, Mr.
The perception that you put out there is civility. But the truth is that it goes a little deeper. We are still identified as good slaves. We are still, see, the idea of resilience is attached to this wagon of compliance. We, as a people, we endured from 17, wherever you talk, to this point. We as a people. We have endured, we have accepted, and we have gone with a particular plan. We have never sat down and said that this is the course that we seek to trot. 1973, as we accepted independence, we said, okay, now is an opportunity. And the years that follow, the 50 years that follow, we as a people are still at the juncture to say, when will we ever truly be able to see the independence for ourselves? We haven't.
No, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Grant, you got it wrong. The point is, you're talking about the particular personalities.
The personalities
running this place
are in the driver's seat.
No, but listen to me. Ain't
Go
the
ahead.
people, you know. It's the personalities. You're getting it all mixed up. The personalities, the ones you got there right now, talking foolishness and nonsense, are not showing the example of the Bahamian people, because it's the Bahamian people that contributed to the stable democracy in this country from 1729 right up to now. Our history has been different from those violent people in the South. We haven't even mentioned that in the CARICOM meeting. It never came up. Here's the problem. Hello?
I'm right here. You drop your phone. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead. You got your phone? Go ahead. Oh, Lord, you drop your phone and you hang up. Call back, Professor. Call back. Make sure you call back, because I want to be very clear about this. I see the telephone call coming through. Let's take this commercial break. I want to be very clear about this. If you put all the elements before you, I think you would be, I don't know if you would agree with me or not. This isn't about bloodshed. This is about a convicted position and a determination, a social conditioning and reconditioning to understand that there is an agenda to move forward, upward, onward together. There has been a transition in our country from the UBP and the oligarchs into what we call a neo-colonial position. That's my position. That's what it is. All we have is black faces with a white agenda. Man, talk to me. We have many black faces with the agenda that continues to suppress the ideas and dreams of us as a people. When the Union Jack fell and the Bahamian flag rose, there was a different idea for us. The same mothers that you talk about and grandparents that came home and say, baby, you ain't ever got to do this no more, was as a result of what was said to them before. In 1964, when there was Constitution Reading Day, when they read the Constitution to the people, in 1973, when we was able to grab hold of the independence, the ideas that spilt into the mind of those that born post-1973 was that you don't have to do that sleeping fishing village thing. Man, I ain't got to do that no more. You ain't got to worry about that no more. You could walk through the front door of the Savoy Plaza. This has nothing to do whether or not the Constitution is being adhered to. If we are wrong as a people, how do we get right? How do we get on a course to identify the type of leadership that can move with conviction despite the external influences? Because it seems as though when you step over the threshold into this leadership position, the first thing that the G1 nations, the big boys, they tell you, hey, watch yourself. These are your confinements, eh? Don't step outside that. And make sure you comply accordingly so you can get yourself a good ratings that you need. You need good ratings. So you can get those good social positions and you can get that money what you need. It seems as though we comply. And the issues that we have socially, we can't even complain. Let's talk clear about the thing. Let's take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
Foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The Foundation. The Foundation.
Divinia's grilled food and products are now open in the Kenneth Plaza, Prince Charles Drive. Come, you must try their jerk chicken, jerk pork, and all their amazing grilled food. Grilled daily to perfection, using all their amazing sauces made right here in the Bahamas. Divania's, grilling good food for life. Call or WhatsApp Divania's today at 817-4468.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With Guardian Radio, you reach your specific demographic and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT. Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Lines are wide open, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. The Foundation with Howard Grant. We're chopping it down, having very good conversation. Let me read a few of these texts. It says, Professor is right. Who defines a fight? Who defines a fight as being limited to bloody encounters? I like when people talk about white supremacy when all ethnicities are pushing the UN one world agenda, right? I don't know whether or not this is what we're doing. I'm not saying to you that a fight with bloodshed needs to be ensued for you to understand the position that you have. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. You all want me to get biblical, but you all today, you know. You want me to chop the thing down biblically where I understand that the covenants that we make for the determination, see, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it like that. Right? But when you're making a description of what you would have done over the years, there's three elements that you put in it. You say your blood, your sweat, and what else? Your tears. That trifecta that binds you and makes you to understand the direction that you need to go has never been excluded. All of a sudden, when it comes to our independence, which excluded blood, sweat, and tears, we feel a perpetual binding to that. How? What has happened on the Burma Road riot? We accept that as the tribulation before the inevitable shift. But that was an internal fight, based upon what was happening with the trade winds of time, to be able to shift the UBP out and put black rulership in. Now let's hey, the line's open. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. But as it relates to our global regional position, this conversation still can't hold weight. Because all of us have to come together with an agreement that says, are we all on one accord? Is this what we need to do? Are we on in the agenda? Because I can need something. Come on, man, let's talk about this thing. Where are we? Take a telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Pleasant good afternoon, Mr. Grant.
Hey, what's up, Sparky? Go ahead.
Let me take a moment to say this like this. You little boy, take your time.
How is that, Sparky?
Do you know that over the hill, the Bahamian black people rioted, burned down fire station, Bahamian men were shot and killed?
When was this, Sparky?
During the Burma Road riot and everything?
I just explained to you that the Burma Road riot... Hold on, Sparky. Hold on. No. That's not going to happen today because you come here condescending with your tone in the first foremost. I said to you the Burma Road riot was very clear of an internal fight to shift leadership from black to white. That's the Bahamas. An independent position within the region a fight for that has never happened.
Mr. Grant, the word independence to me only happened with a word used on July the 10th, 1973, you know. I've never seen the day when we were independent.
Oh my God, Sparky, you'd agree with me then?
I was 22. Check my age. I'm 71 now. Brave Mr. Prime Minister, like I always say, was 31 days younger than I am. We were graduating around the same time. Out of high school, I should say. I don't think any of us have seen anything called independent in this Bahamas yet. Basically, everything in this Bahamas is still owned by the UBP and the foreigners.
Oh my God, Sparky, you come right here. You call me little boy. I accept
that. What I was saying is, but we did have, some of us Bahamian people did stand up and fight, though.
Sparky, that was a fight for us to be able to own ownership as the majority black in this country.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Grant. Give me a moment because you have the button, you have the time, you have the whole house. But what I'm saying is, I remember driving up Prince Charles with my young son, taking him home from work one day, and he said, Daddy, I said, yes, son. How could you all have sat back and allow what happened to this country to be in the state it's in now? Why didn't you all fight? I say, son, you know how much times your daddy walked to Bay Street and rallied and protested and got pushed back behind barricades and guns showed at us. Your daddy walked to Bay Street. Mm-hmm. I say there was many of us that went up and fight in our way. We didn't go with guns and sticks and cutlasses. But while we was doing that for Batelco and B, Water and Sewage and all the different unions, when we used to have strong unions back then, majority of our co-workers who was afraid, and a lot of the Bahamian people who was down in us was saying, fire them, fire all of them. But when we got what we wanted or what we fought for and rallied for, most of those people who didn't go to Bay Street with us, when the pay raises went up, they was right there receiving their increase too.
They get it too. Yeah, it sounds familiar. That's what happens within the union.
Right there. When we left, hey, Mr. Grant, when we walked around Batelco JFK for days and locked up the place and locked the police out and blocked the place with tractors for ball track, those that stood upstairs in the third floor and the fourth floor looking out the windows and did not join us, when we got the raises, they got theirs too. Mm-hmm. You understand?
I understand.
There are those that would not fight and say fire them, but being there when the addition is going out. For years, that's been happening in this country. Let me ask you a question before you let me go. Mm-hmm. Where do the guns, where do our police and defense forces, where do they get their guns from?
Whatever it's from, it ain't from internal.
No, but I believe they get it legally.
Yeah,
they get theirs legally from either America or England, right? Mm-hmm. Because we don't have a gun-making factory, right?
No.
Where do Haiti get their guns from?
Don't you
think they getting their guns from the same places?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Don't you think the criminals and the gangs getting their guns from the same places, America and so forth? Do you believe that illegal guns and drugs come from the same places? Mm-hmm. To small little countries like us? Where do illegal guns come from in our country? Mm-hmm. We don't have a gun factory in the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. But they got more guns on the street than the police got guns.
Yeah.
And I talk about, whoa.
You need to drink some water.
AK-47.
You all right?
Armored guns that go to war are in our streets, from McCullough Corner to East Street, or on our streets. We don't make them in the Bahamas. How do they get here?
Sparky, now I got to let you go.
Who gets the money and the profits from the illegal guns and the drugs? All the same foreign white people too.
It's heavy what you're saying, Sparky.
If you follow the money trail, it goes right back to the white people that call us black people corrupt.
Sparky, you gone heavy today. I appreciate your telephone call. I got to let you go. You got to forgive me for that. I know you want me to. Well, grant you, Howard, you got your button. But let's be very clear about this thing. You come here, and because of the sharp contrast, it's very hard to hear a younger person kind of define these things, especially for older persons who are part of this fight, who understood this and sees it a little bit different. But the history didn't lie to me. See, the agenda that you had at the time would have said to you, this is what we're doing. But in retrospect, as I read these things, I can see something. Let's be very clear. See, because I'm not only ingesting information here locally, I'm reading stories and watching documentaries of the exact same things happen internationally in different spaces, regionally in different spaces. And I realized, as you talk about this, Sparky, the guns that were shipped in here were shipped in here for the purposes of destabilizing our country. The guns that are shipped in Haiti are shipped in for the purposes of destabilizing the community. This destabilization that we continue to identify and see is what we're dealing with. And whilst we continue to be able to pay homage on one arm and one hand to those particular persons who have given us the right to call ourselves independent, they're trying to demolish us at the same time. And ain't nobody talking about this. Quick commercial break. Be right back after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
At Popeyes, get the chicken sandwich you love, but make it blackened. Marinated in Popeyes blackened seasoning, that is. Our new juicy filet is fried to perfection without the breading, served on a toasted brioche bun. Try it today as a combo or a la carte. Don't forget to choose your level of spice today at any one of our 3 locations.
Love that chicken from Popeyes. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company with the foundation. Listen, somebody texted me just now. Howard, you can give the professor a heart attack, right? Howard, you could give the professor a heart attack. Or our ancestors fought for our freedom. My grandfather was in the war. Just because we have one bad leader doesn't mean that we are good slaves and dumb. I've invited the professor to come sit with me next week, Wednesday. I've invited him to do that. I've invited him, and I'm hoping that he would accept this invitation. I see the lines are lit up. They're writing the right stuff right now. Next week, Wednesday, we can have the constitutional conversation about our position and whether or not persons are doing what they have to do, whether or not the course that we've trod has been as a result of leaders that has gone contrary to the Constitution of the Bahamas. Let's just talk about that. Next week, Wednesday, God spare our lives, we're going to have that conversation and kind of chop that down, right? So it says, let me see this. Let me see if I can read this. Talk that truth, Rand. World terrorism is led by the U.S. and the EU. They use finance as a weapon. Yup, we are slaves. These are some texts that are coming through. So the professor is right. Who defines a fight as being limited? Okay, we read that one already, right? Haiti's problem is a spiritual one. What did they expect when in the 1700s they decided they dedicated their country to the evil entity other than God? They would have perpetual problems until they reverse their evil covenant. A few weeks ago, a former British High Commissioner was on a talk show and spoke about his interaction with the late Queen Elizabeth And it shocked me when he said that she was asked him who were her subjects doing back at home in the Bahamas. I really didn't know that she, after all these years, still considers us subjects of hers. Now let's just be shoot straight, man. Why do we keep playing with this? Why? This is worse than a marriage where you sleep in 2 different bedrooms, but you go to church on Sunday like everything cool. Everything is not cool. Why are we socially coming to this position to be able to identify this other than what it really is? We as a people have complied. And this generation of Bahamians are complaining. We're complaining that the treaties that were set before us generations ago, that what was set up from an infrastructure for who we are as a people to enjoy in years to come is insufficient at this time. Just this morning, I was having a conversation about NIB and how we read the article the other day that spoke to the fact that the minister with responsibility for NIB is saying that they're losing $4 million a month. And then I laugh about it. And he goes on, that's $48 million a year. And we ain't even touched beneficiaries yet and other disabilities yet. And then he goes on to talk about, well, what are we going to do? You know, people aren't dying. That is bananas. And no one could understand that the infrastructure, the framework that was set for a country some time back needs to expand. They could talk about creativity, innovation, and all these things, but things are not happening the way that they are. When are we going to come to a reality? That's why we're having these conversations, you know. As we move to the next 50 years, how are you going to fix this country for me? Or are we going to continue to be compassionate to those that come from the South, to always include them? Are we continue to be compassionate as we're going to know that this issue will never leave this country? When the hell is going to be my time? And this hit home for Howard, you know. For me, I didn't tell you my story. I come from Grand Bahama. You think I want to be here? All my property in Grand Bahama. But I can't make no money in the city. I could build 18 houses in Grand Bahama. But my children still got to live here in this space where I cannot afford a $150,000 piece of property in an area that I consider decent. Let's just be straight with this conversation. This is about empowerment. This is about identifying what needs to happen going forward. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys, your contribution, your position, your ideas, and the like, to be able to lend to a social conversation for growth and development. I appreciate it. I appreciate it because I don't think this should need to be the exact same thing that we meander around. Just touch the edge. Oh, well, you better don't touch that. Let's talk about how we're going to really grow. Somebody say, Howard, I won't be able to drop you back home, right? Y'all need to stop it, right? Guys, this has been a great show. I appreciate this. Is there a caller on the line? Caller, I can't even get to you. I'm so sorry. I can't even get to the call, right? I'm so sorry. I don't have the time. I want to thank you guys for being able to tune in. I thank all those persons for supporting the show. Tomorrow is going to be Small Business Thursdays. It's not too late. If you want to be able to get in there to get your small business on display, and for God's sake, tomorrow y'all don't try to change the conversation. We're talking small business. We're talking about where we're going. We're talking about those businesses in the community. I thank you so much for contributing. I thank you so much for participating. I thank you about it. I thank you about the fact that we're really being able to trouble the waters of that stagnant consistency or lack thereof. What we've been calling resilience has just been sort of a limp position in many respects. Unless and until we stand up. Okay, if we're not going to have this fight of independence internationally, we got to have it locally. And every 5 years, we have an opportunity to be able to right the wrongs of our Constitution and be able to align ourselves properly. We're still making the same decisions. So let's talk. Let's make this thing happen. 96.9 FM radio, Guardian Radio with Howard Grant. And the foundation, guys, thank you so very kindly for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to see you tomorrow right here, same time, same place. Stick and stay for Shivago Lang with Z Live right after this. Have a good day, guys.
Foundation. found.